Last night I went to a healing seminar, and the two healers were, one was a Capricorn and one was a Virgo, and I was wondering why I was just reveling in everything, and maybe that explains why I immediately called you as soon as I saw you on the...
Well, I have to go, but would you call again?
Certainly. Have a nice day.
Thanks for calling.
Thank you for calling, Vinny. Here is a lady who is 17 years old on Thursday, which is February 29th. Her date of birth is February 29th, 1928. Good morning to Doris. Doris,
morning,
are you there?
Here. You hear me?
Happy birthday a week early.
Thank you.
How does it feel to be 17 at long last?
Well, I'll tell you.
That's fun. Have you had a lot of jokes along that way?
You should have seen my 15th birthday, what my kids gave me.
Well, what did they give you?
Got a training bra. And
By the way, Doris is watching on cable channel 12 over in Lake Peekskill. Good morning. You're on with Mary Michele.
Did you have a particular question, Doris?
Yes, I did. Well, it's sort of general, and I do have a couple of big decisions to make coming up. One regarding moving, and the other is selling of a share that I have, whether I should or should hold on to it.
You have the sun in Pisces. You have the moon in Gemini. This is a hard angle. It might be hard for you sometimes to become that Persephone figure that I was talking about earlier. The conscious and the unconscious are a little bit at war. Your unconscious wants to analyze things, and your sun, your conscious self, has tremendous compassion. And sometimes analysis and compassion don't always go together. I think this is why people sometimes have trouble understanding people that work as therapists. But anyway, to move on about your question, Mercury in Pisces, you have, a few planets here in Aquarius, and in January of this year, Uranus went into its own sign of Aquarius. So it's about new beginnings. It's about, was this move something that came up suddenly?
Well, the initial move was a yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
Decided to move, and then there was a death.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a very fast move.
Mm-hmm.
Things that not were planned.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've sort of been on hold for over a year.
Uh-huh.
It's been very difficult for everybody concerned.
Yeah. Well, I think that you're getting a lot of energy, though, from the planet Uranus. You're getting a lot of insight. You have it in the sign of Venus and in Mars. So it's almost like if both from the male and female relationships that you have, whether they're children or friends or whatever, both sexes are helping you with this big momentous shift that's going on for you. I don't know as there's going to be any clarity for you until the spring.
Oh, spring.
Is it something that you feel you need to do something about right now?
It's not something that has to be done immediately, like in the next couple of weeks, but it should be done within a couple of months.
Yes, well, it will. I think you'll have greater clarity, and look for things to come to you that are completely out of the ordinary.
Out of the ordinary?
Yeah. This, and particularly suggestions, probably from younger people.
Younger?
Yeah. Is that helpful?
I hope so. On the state of my health in the next few years?
Well, I think you've probably been concerned about it more over the last 2 years. But, coming up for the next couple of years, there's not, whatever it is that you were going through in the last 2 years is coming to an end. So, whatever your fear about, there might be a little bit with circulation. In the next couple of years. So you need to get out and walk. Is that something you can do?
Oh, it's very difficult.
Is it? Well, you need to get out. Even if you just get out and get driven around, you need fresh air. You need to be moving somehow. So, walk as much as you can. If you can't walk a lot, get someone to help you to go to be out and moving and seeing different things. Circulation needs, even if it's not the physical kind, it needs that fresh air kind of thing. You need to be, spend as much time in the garden and going to different places, getting people to take you around. Can you do that?
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Doris, and happy birthday to you. We do have open lines now at 241-1310, 241-13. Now, Mary Michele, I have a question. Two questions, actually. The first one, you said a hard angle. Would you repeat what a hard angle means when you got this and there and it's a hard angle?
A hard angle, to me, it kind of resonates easily. A hard angle is 90 degrees, something that is a square.
A right angle.
Yeah. You can kind of see the energy being shut off, right? There's nowhere for it to go. Whereas a trine, either a sextile, a 60-degree angle, or a 120-degree angle, there's movement. There's movement to the energy. It flows. So a hard angle is usually a square is between two signs that are of the same modality. We call them modalities. And, if you take two fixed signs, if you take the sign of Aquarius, which we were just in February, we were in the sign of Aquarius, and you take the sign of Scorpio. Okay, they're both what is known as fixed signs. The four fixed signs are Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Leo, which I don't know if any of you saw the show that I did here at VIP, where I talked with the Lutheran minister, and we talked about the Gospels and the imagery, some of the imagery in the Gospels that have to do with the four fixed signs, Matthew, Luke, Mark, and John, and how these relate to the four fixed signs. It's fixed, if you can imagine, two bulldozers coming up against each other. Fixed, they both want to do things in their own fixed way. So a hard angle is between two people that have that kind of, conflict. Now, life is about conflict. And going back to my story of Persephone and how she was able to rise above this problem of just being stuck in the underworld, she would go back and visit her mother for 3 months of the year, and then she would go back into the underworld. And it's that same idea. Everything in life is going to have a certain amount of conflict. The theater, television, anything that you watch is going to have a certain amount of conflict. It's always about how much conflict and, how comfortable we feel with it and how much we allow other people to take the conflict for us. Anyway, so these hard angles are very important, and lots of times you'll see relationships between people that have to work it out through butting their heads together.
All right, the other question was, when Vinny called, he had some sort of a chart. He used a word there, and then he talked about 22 degrees of this, that, or something else. What's the name of that? And I assume that is a full astrological reading?
Right. He'd had his chart done.
Okay.
He was talking about transiting Pluto, where Pluto is right now. I think he mentioned progressed, but it wouldn't be progressed. It would be transiting Pluto, because it's at 0 degrees or 2 degrees of Sagittarius right now. Around Thanksgiving, I refer to going back to Thanksgiving quite a bit, because that was the time when I talked to people about their individual charts, that was the time that Pluto moved into Sagittarius. And this is really a big, big change. It's been since 1984 that Pluto was in Scorpio. So it's generational. It affects us in kind of, as Jung would call it, the collective unconscious. It's everybody. I don't know if you know the story of Jung right before the Second World War. He was working in Switzerland with a lot of patients from all different walks of life. And one of the things that helped him develop this theory about the collective unconscious was the fact that he noticed that in people's dreams, there were so many people that were seeing the horrific things that were about to happen during World War II. So there is kind of a collective sense of, a collective intuitive sense, which is what the collective unconscious is about. And, we all tap into it from time to time. And one of the things that I believe that astrology helps us with is to have more confidence in this and to believe that we have to trust our intuition and see when these things start to happen and how they, what the possibilities, how scary it could be to allow some person to come back into our sphere that would be too dictatorial and or try to take control in too much of a way.
Okay. We have an open line at 241-1310. We're going to get to Meredith just a couple seconds away. We're talking to Mary Michele. If you have a question, 241-1310. Back with Meredith in 1 minute. There is nothing like the smell of a great cup of coffee. The deep, rich warmth of fresh brewed just conjured up cozy comfort. Doesn't it just make you want to curl up on a couch with a good book? The Coffee Pickers Cafe in Mount Kisco is just the place to go for aroma with atmosphere. Your own oasis where you can curl up with a cup of gourmet coffee, espresso, cappuccino, or cafe latte. Warm up in front of their wood-burning stove or nestle down on a cozy couch with a good book. Coffee Pickers Cafe even provides the books from their library of top selections, all for your enjoyment. And to enhance your coffee experience, try a Coffee Pickers muffin or Danish or select a decadent dessert. Located in Mount Kisco at 200 Main Street, there is no place like it. Nurture your spirit while you nurture your tummy. Hang out, relax, read your paper as long as you like. Get a second cup of coffee for the sports page. Sorry, we cannot offer an antacid for the business section. Coffee Pickers Cafe, where good friends meet, 200 Main Street, Mount Kisco. And Coffee Pickers Cafe is now open. And for those of you who are out for your morning walk, well, walk right in and warm up with a nice hot cup of coffee. The Coffee Pickers Cafe, 200 Main Street in Mount Kisco. And let's get back to the phones. We're with Mary Michele taking your calls on astrology at 241-1310. We do have an open line. Let's get now to Meredith calling from Katona. Date of birth, May 27th, 1978. Meredith, good morning. You're on with Mary Michele.
Good morning, Meredith. Did you have a particular question?
Yes. Recently I've been having some problems in personal relationships with friends and whatnot, and I was just wondering if maybe calm down.
If it's calming down now? I would think that it probably would have started already to calm down a bit as of Monday this week. You have the sun in Gemini, the moon in Aquarius. This is a harmonious angle. You work well. You're conscious and you're unconscious. You go easily from one to the other. The moon in Aquarius, there might have been some big changes that happened to you in February that might have affected your personal relationships. But I think that you're probably better able to handle it than you think. Is there something in particular? Can you be a little more specific about the difficulty in the personal relationship?
Well, one of my friends is like that attitude, but
you had a huge fight.
Yeah.
Was this something different? I mean, had you not fought with this person before?
Oh no, we fight all the time.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, what made this fight different? I mean, sometimes fighting's good.
It's because it's not really a fight. It's just
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah. It kind of is eating at you. Well, what is this fight about? Does it have something to do with another individual, or is it a financial thing?
No, it's another individual. Actually, one of my boyfriends broke up with me because he liked her better.
Uh-huh. Well, I think the thing is that you have Venus in Cancer, and Jupiter in Cancer. These are the two luck planets, and right now is a very good time with the Sun in Pisces. It's trining that Venus and Jupiter in Cancer. So in terms of your emotional life and your, the people that you're attracted to and that are attracted to you, it would seem to me that if these people don't appreciate you, now would be a time for you to go and try to initiate new relationships. There is stuff on your side, so to speak. On the other hand, if you do want to work it out with them, it's a time for you to be true to your feelings. You have to perhaps not hold back the way that Gemini is a sign that can overthink things. So what you want to do is you want to kind of take a moment, collect yourself, find a little moment of peace, and then go and say, this is what I feel. You've really hurt me, and this is why you've really hurt me. Either way, I think it's a very good time for you to take that kind of initiative.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for
Okay,
calling.
thank you for calling. We're talking to Mary Michele. We have an open line at 241-1310. Let's get to Barbara. Barbara is watching on cable channel 12 up in Somers. Her date of birth, July 31st, 1952. 7/31/52. Barbara, good morning. You're on with Mary Michele.
Good morning, Barbara. Did you have a particular question?
Yes, I need money. Is there anything in there?
I need money. Okay, July 31st. You have the sun in Leo, the moon in Scorpio. These are two fixed signs, so the conflict goes on within you, kind of rages within you. Are you an artist?
A little bit of one, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Mercury in Leo, Venus in Leo, are you kind of in the public? I mean, are you more of a performer kind of artist?
I just do it in my spare time for fun.
Uh-huh.
But I can feel it in me. I think I probably could.
Yeah. There's a lot of Leo here. How do you make money?
I'm a nurse.
You're a nurse. Are there ways, anything to do with children? All of these planets in Leo, it's not just the sun. You have a lot there. The moon in Scorpio, you might sometimes have trouble. The moon in Scorpio it's what we call in its fall. It is watery, Scorpio is a watery sign, but it might mean that you have trouble sometimes with superiors that are women. So, if you're having trouble, is there an authority figure that is female that is perhaps blocking you from... No. Well, I think if you can do things with children in terms of making money, this would be what kind of nursing do you do?
Critical care.
Critical care. I don't really know what to say. Critical care. I mean, that's something that I would think would be lucrative. I mean, you're very much needed in critical care.
Maybe I should search for what I should be doing, you know what I mean, in terms of maybe children or something. But I just thought, oh boy, is money going to come from somewhere out of the sky?
Well, money is the nature of money in astrology is about self-worth. We have to believe that we're worth money. That's the way we get money. So the way that we do that is we find things to do that we love. Because when we love it, then we know that we're good at it. And nobody can tell us otherwise.
Project in April.
I'm sorry?
I will be starting a woodworking project in April. I'll be making furniture. So that's kind of painting and creative for me, and I'll be learning. So I don't know, maybe I'd be able to sell it. Who knows?
I think that would be wonderful, and April is a very, very good time for you.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful time to start a new project. I think you just have to believe more in what you're doing. I think the woodworking is good. I think certainly being a critical care nurse is something that is, admirable, really admirable. I don't think I could do it. So, I think you have to believe in what you're doing. Maybe somewhere along the line in the last few years, that trust in yourself and your own abilities has been pulled out from underneath you. So you have to build that up again.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks for calling.
Okay, thank you for calling, and we do have an open line at 241-1310. Good time to get in to talk to Mary Michele at WVIP, and we will be back in exactly 1 minute.
The Bedford Pharmacy is a small, friendly pharmacy with the emphasis on service. Let John give you his undivided attention, filling your prescription in minutes with a complete computerized prescription record. Discover the many reasons to visit Bedford Pharmacy, like their selection of Bausch & Lomb sunglasses, Caswell Massey, Taylor of London, and Knipe products, fragrances like Shalimar and Chanel, a complete line of Revlon and Almay skincare. The Bedford Pharmacy, next to the hardware store on Route 22 in Bedford. Open weekdays 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 6. Fax service and charge accounts now available. Call 234-7074, 234-7075.
And welcome back. We're talking to Mary Michele, taking your calls on astrology at 241-1310. You often use the term earth signs.
Right.
Pray tell, meaneth what?
Right. Well, very much like I was talking about the 4 fixed signs before. There are 4 elements, as we call it. There are earth signs, water signs, fire, and air. And this year, particularly with Jupiter, the great benevolent king of the gods, in the sign of Capricorn, it's a good year for all of the earth signs. The earth signs are, starting with Taurus. Taurus is the sign that loves, things that are sensuous, the 5 senses. It's a sign that loves to have a good time. The tendency with Taurus sometimes is that they, can tend to get a little large, overeat. The next earth sign is Virgo. This is the analyst of the zodiac. Virgo is the sign that, really believes in the perfection of things, which can get the sign of Virgo and into a lot of trouble, the people that have that. But it also is terribly helpful to other people. The final earth sign is Capricorn. Capricorn is it's where we have honor in our life. Capricorn is usually the people that are of the sign Capricorn or have other planets there are very involved in their career and success in their career. It may or may not be about money, but it is about prestige. It's about authority figures.
Okay, let's get back to the phones. Armand is calling from Mount Kisco. Date of birth, November 22nd, 1917, 11/22/17. Armand, good morning. You're on with Mary Michele.
Good morning, Mike. This is Rutherfurd. Yeah. Hello.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. Say, listen, there's a big question in my mind. Am I Sagittarius or the month before that, October? I've seen them 2 different ways.
Right.
And I always go by Sagittarius.
All right, yes.
Why
You're born the last day of Sagittarius. It does change, It changes from year to year. You have to understand the nature of sidereal time. Do you understand that? The Earth does a rotation of 24 hours and 10 seconds, which is why we have a leap year.
Right.
Like we have this year. Well, so that means that the constellations also will change, depending on the year. There will be, which is why you get different things from different papers and different astrological people will say it differently.
I see.
You also have the moon in Pisces. So this is, again, this is a hard angle between the sun and the moon.
I see. At this time of the year and this year right now, would it be Sagittarius?
No, right now is Pisces.
Oh, okay.
We're in the sign of Pisces, so now is a time that it's good for you to get in touch with your unconscious. You should be listening to your dreams and talking about things that don't necessarily make a lot of logical sense.
I see. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks
Okay,
for calling.
thank you for calling, Armand. Online, too, is Ellen from Katona, October 27th, 1946. 10/27/46. Good morning, Ellen. You're talking to Mary Michele.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Did you have a particular question?
Yes, I'd like to find out about my financial situation. What's going to happen with that?
Okay. You were born with the sun in Scorpio and the moon in Sagittarius. Was there something that happened around Thanksgiving that kind of gave you an indication of how you were going to change your life in some way? Probably emotionally, but it might have tied in with money.
Well, around Thanksgiving, my son was in the hospital. He's been in and out of the hospital a few times for depression, so it's possible that something might have happened then.
Right, and this would affect the financial.
What?
This would affect your financial situation.
A lot of worry and a lot of stress going on, and my financial situation hasn't been good for the last few years anyway, because I'm on my own with my 3 children, and there's not money coming in, not too much money coming in.
Do you have a way of making money? Do you have...
Right now, no. I collect unemployment, and I work as a substitute teacher aide, sporadically. That's what I'm doing right now.
Well, Scorpio is the sign of research. It's the person that likes to find out about things and get to the heart of the matter. They say they're the psychic detectives. Scorpio are the psychic detectives. They do things like Psychology, is about getting to the heart of the matter. It's about, looking very closely. The line of work that you're, library, information. I think what you need to do is choose a topic. Scorpio is a fixed sign. It likes to have one direction. It likes to know exactly where it's going.
Right.
And I think that you need to figure out exactly what that one direction is that you're the most interested in. Do you have any idea of that?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get clear about, is what direction that I go in. I really have a lot of...
Well, when you were in school,
yeah.
What were the subjects that you liked the most?
I did like psychology a lot when I was in school. I didn't major in it, but I liked it.
Well, I think you ought to perhaps take, a small course in psychology if you can. Perhaps through the place that you work, you could do something in exchange where they might offer some kind of a, without you having to pay for it.
Right. Well, I only work as a substitute, so there's no, there's no...
Right, but there are ways around that.
Yeah.
And Scorpios are very good at finding the ways around it. I think you have to figure out what it is that you would like to study. And all of these things, each of these steps will open new avenues.
Right. I've also been interested just through reading. I've been reading a lot about metaphysical subjects and healing, and that interests me a lot also.
Well, I think the alternative health care market is getting bigger and bigger. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
So anything that you would like to do in that area, it's obviously not as lucrative as regular medicine at the moment. But I think that will change. I think that there will be more of an even keel where people will understand that both ways are helpful.
Or, more available to some people than it was.
Yes, exactly. So I would choose, just focus. You have to sit quietly, find a place, think about it, and choose exactly which part of that it is that you want to go after and do it.
Right.
Okay?
All right.
Thanks for calling.
Thank you for calling. We have an open line at 241-1310, 241-1310. Sandy has been waiting patiently from South Salem. Date of birth, February 23rd. Is that today, I believe? Happy birthday.
Wow.
1956, 22356. Happy birthday, Sandy. And as your gift, we're not singing.
You have a lovely voice, Mike.
Yeah, it's a love. No, happy birthday to you.
Did you have a particular question?
Oh, gee. Well, I guess about my future.
Just a general kind of thing. Okay, you were born in the year of the monkey. Did you know that?
No.
The Chinese New Year we just had this week, right? And we've gone into the year of the rat. The year of the monkey is... the monkey is one of these people that borders both sides of things, again, as I was talking about the conscious and the unconscious. And the monkey can go up into the heavens and sit with the gods. But he tends to go a little far sometimes. He will be a little too tricky. Monkeys are very clever. So what the gods will do is they will occasionally slap him down to size and, send him back to Earth. But anyway, of all of the animals in the Chinese zodiac, this is the only animal that goes back and forth like that. So, he's sort of in an enviable position. With the sun in Pisces and the moon in Leo, Pisces is about wanting to be, a reflective, inspired, philosophical, compassionate. It's a sign that helps people, sometimes to the exclusion of themselves. The moon in Leo is really quite the opposite. Leo is, what about me? I'm the child. I'm center stage. Can you look at me? So it's not a terribly hard angle. Leo is a fixed sign. Pisces is mutable. So your sun sign will move around this Leo quality of wanting to be center stage. But you have to let it happen from time to time. What kind of work do you do?
Oh, my goodness. I have about 5 different jobs. I sell invitations. I work in a bank, and I work in a boutique. I'm a mom.
Yeah.
So I'm juggling a lot of things right now.
Well, Pisces is what we call a mutable sign, so it is able to do many different things. The moon in Leo is not. It's fixed. It wants to have one thing. You have Mercury in Aquarius. Your mind is very fixed as well, although it's ahead of its time. The way that you think and the things that you're interested in are things that are probably a little bit ahead of their time. Do you work with computers at all?
No.
No. Would you like to? No, not interested. Well, there is something with this Mercury in Aquarius where you should get involved with the future. You should be involved with some kind of, whether it's telepathy, technology, something that has to do with dealing with things that are ahead of their time. These are, interesting topics for you. You have Venus in Aries, Mars in Sagittarius. This is harmonious, both fire signs. Your relationship with people of the opposite sex, as a rule, is pretty harmonious. The last 2 years with the Sun in Pisces, you have had, not an easy time in terms of your will. Your will, the Sun is our will. It's the brightest thing in our universe. So if you think of it as being the brightest and the strongest, very much like, what happened with when there was this transition with religion, when we went into this idea of a one God, whereas in the early belief systems, of course, had many gods.